Hi everyone. Yes, well, I'm back again, and it's just for a quick sort of little live stream tonight. We may possibly get joined by a couple of guests. I know for one that said we will. It's our good friend 000firestorm1989, sir. Okay, so we'll start. Just get the link here. Okay, yes. So yes, this is going to be a quick live stream. It won't be on for very long. It's already nearly 11:15. We might just do it for the most an hour, up to an hour if people are happy to. Let's have a look. Okay, so. Yeah, okay, so the link's all sent out to everyone. So I have actually got some purchases that I can actually show you. I'm trying to think that's not new. These I picked up a couple of others, but these were two Sega games, Sega Mega Drive games that I picked up from this awesome new stall on the market. It has in Escape from Mars and Toy Story for the Mega Drive. Oh, hi Sam, how are you?
Mate, not bad. Not bad.
This isn't too late for you, is it?
No, not really.
I should be going to see Captain Marvel tomorrow, so...
It's a good film.
Yeah, I was meant to go on Friday, you see, but circumstances changed. Yeah.
Yeah, all in all, it was it wasn't a bad film, to be fair. I quite enjoyed it. It's good, good little prequel, really. Sets a lot of stuff up.
Oh, here's Carl.
Yeah, here comes Boss Man then. Carl! Don't die on us,
What's
mate.
up?
Not a lot.
Oh, I don't know what it is to them. I don't fucking know what's going off, like. What's going down then?
Yeah, this one won't be very long. This will probably just be for like an hour since it's already nearly 11:45.
I didn't notice. I hadn't even noticed what time it was.
Not a lot's going on in my life at the moment, mate. Anything new with you?
Not much. I've just recently, since now I have acquired the technology to do game streaming, so I've done some game streaming videos. But now I can also do retro streaming as well, because I now have AV HDMI adapter. That after about an hour of fiddling around with, I finally got it working. I've done some test runs with some settings.
Yeah, good old gaming. I need to do some more gameplay stuff. I haven't done any for a while. I have got the necessary software to do it. I just haven't done it.
I've tried to do them live. It was actually working for a minute, but I got this live desk studio, which I think is part of the OBS software. I was broadcasting playing Toy Story on the Sega Mega Drive, but it kept freezing because it kept losing the connection.
Oh yeah, that's the problem with streaming.
Yeah,
you need to be having a really solid connection, and it's best if you do it on wired and not Wi-Fi, because anything can fuck your Wi-Fi up.
Yeah, Wi-Fi at the best. It's not the most stable thing, is Wi-Fi.
no, it's not.
No, I mean it's all right. I mean, it's like when I play, was it Horizon 4 online? 9 times out of 10 I can do a Forzathon or something like that, but there's the really annoying bits when all of a sudden you'll be fucking belting along and then it just goes, you have been disconnected, and they're like, fuck.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've also done a pre-recorded test run as well. But for a minute, I thought I need an extra bit of equipment, but I finally got it working. Because I have one of those classic Sega Mega Drive Minis that has 80 games installed on it. Plus, it also has the cartridge slot in it. So, yeah.
If you come across a game that's not on it, you can always get the cartridge cheap. Yeah.
It has all the classics are already on it. Like I think it's got Sonic 1 and 2, but it doesn't have Sonic 3, so I'll have to get that.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say they're not going to give you Sonic 3 in that. It's they don't like giving that one away because that's the one that everybody wants to play.
Yeah.
Mind you, hang on. Would it be able to fit a Master System converter?
I don't know. You see, recently I've been talking to this guy because there's this guy that's come to our local market in my town, and he's just opened an awesome new stall full of collectors. Actually, a real collector's shop, and it's got stuff simply from Japan. It's got old toys, trading cards, old games, and a bit of new stuff as well. Yeah. I think he says I think for the Sega I think there is a classic Master System as well. But I haven't.
There is. I
haven't seen it. I've seen
it. They've been making Master Systems in Brazil.
Yeah.
They only stopped making them about 5 years ago because they got was it Master System 3?
Yeah.
And it's got most of them's got a load of games just on a like an internal memory card. But it's like say if you can get an old one of the old Mega Drive 2 Mass System converters, the one that just plugs into the cartridge slot. might be able to play Master System games on your little Mega Drive thing as well.
Yeah, well, that'd be good because this guy's got lots of Master System games. But I see these are some of the titles I picked up. I've got Taz in Escape from Mars. This is actually quite.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got Toy Story.
Mm.
I got that Aladdin game. You know, the one that you did, Carl.
Oh yeah, that's awesome fucking game. That.
Yeah, I've been playing it. I really do like it. I mean, I got it.
Yeah.
I found that one in CEX actually.
Yes.
On Friday, I was going all around Leicester looking for anywhere that sells retro games.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, it's like when I was looking at starting to collect, like actual Mega Drive games. I bought a Mega Drive, and I was looking at starting to collect things. And the best thing I found was just go on eBay, and there's people selling a box of fucking Mega Drive games for a tenner. There might be like 30, 40 games in it, but the only problem with doing that is like with a lot of the things when you buy stuff in bulk, you end up getting like 2 or 3 at the same thing. But then you can always sell them on. Yeah, you can always sell them on or trade them for something else. But if you're buying a box of games for a tenner and you're getting 30 games, a couple of doubles, you can always box, like say you buy quite a few and you've got quite a few doubles, you just chuck your doubles in a box, stick that on eBay, you might get 10, 20 quid back, or take them to a collectibles place or something like that, and they might trade it for something shiny and new, It's one of them things, but I never got round to properly doing that. I ended up getting rid of Mega Drive and everything. And I wish I hadn't, because I don't know why. I had an original copy of Zero Wing, which is really fucking hard to get. It's still in the box with the cartridge worked, had the instruction manual and everything, and I really don't know what happened to it. But it was a fucking awesome game, that. And what was the other one? Guy Nug. Thunder Force 4.
Do you have a Red 5 or what they call them now, a Mankind in Doncaster, Carl? Or one of these?
I don't know, to be honest. I know we used to have a Red 5 at one point, but
that's where I got my classic Mega Drive from.
Yeah.
You ever consider getting one of those?
No, it's more clutter than I need. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like I say, it's if I get one of them things. I mean, what I was thinking of getting instead of like one of them classic Mega Drive things was just there's a console out there, and it's got cartridge slots on it for Super Nintendo, NES, Mega Drive, Master System, and something else. Oh, an Atari, that was it. And you just basically put a cartridge in each slot, and you turn it on, and then you just flick a switch, and it starts routing through whichever.
I have heard about these things actually.
I need 5 in 1 or something. Yeah, I was going to get one of them, but then I thought, well, where am I going to put it?
Yeah, I'd have to get one of those so I can do more, different retro styles.
Yeah. I mean, I was in Smith's when I was looking in Smith's a few weeks ago. They'd got. What was it? There was a handheld Atari console thing. But then when I looked at the list of games on it, there were like about 5 games on that I'd heard of. And it's like, well, I can... What's the point? I mean, it were only like 25 quid. It's like, I'm spending 25 quid to play 5 games. Mm. They had the, the Commodore 64 Mini. And I thought that might be quite good, but it's like 50 quid, and it's like, well, I don't want to spend 50 quid on it. It's like I say, I can download. I mean, I've got the Spectrum emulator, which is basically every Spectrum, every Sinclair ever made. And it's like you can get ROMs and stuff online.
Just a piece of software, the Spectrum emulator.
Yeah, it's called Fuse.
Yeah.
I used that. I did a video where I played Jet Set Willy?
Jet Set Willy.
Yeah, and Jetpack on it. It's
I love Jetpack.
Yeah, Jetpack. Yeah,
I love that.
I first had Jetpack for the VIC-20, and it was on the actual VIC-20, not a fucking emulator or a retro thing. It was on a tape. and you could get it to load about eight times out of 10.
Yeah.
I had another game, and it was really good, and it was called was it Tower of Evil, and it was sort of like you know the game Gauntlet, where you explore and whatnot. It was sort of like that, but that was a bastard to get to load.
Yeah.
You know, you'd put tape in, close it up. You know, you press your buttons. I can't remember what it were that you pressed on keyboard, and it said press play on tape, and you press play on tape, and then it'd go right loading. So you go right, go get a glass of pop or something. You know, off you go. Come back 10 minutes later, and it's fucking error at whatever thing. So you'd have to rewind tape, try again, and it won't work. And like bollocks. That's the only problem with the tapes. Even the Commodore had their own tape players that automatically had automatic sound balance and stuff like that. But even then, when tape were getting a bit dodgy, you still couldn't get them to load properly. It sucked. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I might have another crack at doing some recorded ones. I can't stream games because it's connection's all right, but I'm on wireless, and my laptop's showing its age a bit now. It's what we call it. So it's like I say, I can't really stream games. It's a little bit too, sort of RAM intensive for me to stream stuff. Where I can record, cross fingers, if I get fucking slobs working again. If not, I'll have to try and find some other capture software. So that's what I say. Streamlabs OBS used to be great. When I first got it, it was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
And they kept updating it, which is good that they update it. But the problem is they'd update it and it'd fuck everything up.
Yeah. Sam, have you been playing any games lately?
Well, I've been playing quite a bit of Homeworld Remastered recently.
That's another awesome game.
Yeah, I mean, I've got the original Homeworld. I bought that back when it first came out in like '99, and I love that game. I got the Homeworld Remastered edition about 2 years ago, which I just absolutely love. I've just been playing that because I love retro strategy games because it's some of the best games ever made, and the remastered version is so beautiful because it's so beautiful HD graphics and it's so realistic.
Yeah,
it's just because the thing is, I'm kind of like the generation that was just brought up on either original Doom, Heretic, Hexen,
my dad and I
Theft Auto, and obviously like Red Alert, Command and Conquer. I still play all those games because to me they're kind of more enjoyable than a lot of today's games.
Yeah, I got a bit. I mean, I what they call it, because Crackdown 3's come out, they've been giving away Crackdown 2 for free, on Xbox, and my mate said about it the other day, and I went and got it, and then remembered I had it on 360 anyway, so it just let me download it for free out of my own library. I've been sat playing Crackdown 2, and it's just like it's a ridiculous amount of fun. It's just being like a super cop that just goes around and machine guns the shit out of people, while the narrator or the handler or whatever it's called, randomly says like fucked up shit at you. Like, oh, kill the freaks, make them pay. Yeah, but I'm going to say stuff like Homeworld. I mean, there was Homeworld and then Cataclysm and then Homeworld 2. I think the Homeworld series, it peaked at Cataclysm. Because Homeworld 2, I never really got on with. It was playable and it was all right. The story was great, but a lot of stuff was just too busy.
Well, I do personally prefer the original Homeworld, largely for its simplicity. The thing with Homeworld 2, as you say, they took the basis of the game, then obviously set the storyline 20 years later, and the problem that you could say part of the issue with it was they gave it too much of a tech tree. Obviously, rather than keeping it simple, you spent too much time having to research stuff in order to progress in the story. That was kind of part of the problem.
The thing that I liked in Homeworld, in the original Homeworld, that they basically got rid of for the other games in it was the ability to you could like put a battle group together, but then like you could have the fighters in one formation, the bombers in another formation, then the escort, the kind of support ships in another formation, then your big battle wagons.
Yeah.
So you could have it so that you'd have like your carriers and your battleships just in a line formation, and then you could put a sphere of fighters around it. And then when your carriers launch the bombers, you could have them approach the target in line or in V, so that you actually got a proper tactical, what they call it. Whereas Cataclysm and Homeworld 2, they had that weird thing where it was like, oh, you set, like you put a battle group together and then you go like, oh, get into formation. And they all sort of get into a formation, but it doesn't really do anything for you.
It
slows the down. Yeah, it slows the ships down because the ships only move at the speed of the slowest ship. And, then you go.
Oh, sorry, Carl.
No, I'm just thinking, it's like, well,
Yeah, Nosy says he doesn't want to pop on, but is the chat open? Yeah, Nosy says he's chatting to us.
I have no idea because I'm not watching on YouTube, so have a look, see what's going on. Because I usually turn YouTube off whenever I, to make sure free up a bit of fucking RAM, like.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. See. Oh.
The interesting thing you mentioned, Carl, about all these sort of like emulators and things that are coming out. Part of the problem with a lot of these like kind of retro emulator consoles, there's a hell of a lot of kind of dodgy knockoffs being made that are just Raspberry Pis. And
not even Raspberry Pis. Some of them, the really cheap ones. I can remember, about 10 years ago, buying a one of them. It was like 150 games in one for like 10 quid off this stall on market, and it looked quite good. It got joystick, like controllers that look like PlayStation controllers and stuff like that. And for a tenner, I weren't going to argue. But then when I got it home and plugged it in, what they'd done is they basically like took a game that had got 10 levels, then split the levels up, and then each level they were classing as a game.
Right.
And then there were like a lot of knockoff games as well. Like I noticed there was one, and it was I think it was like Mega Man or something like that, but they'd reskinned it so that it was Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like that, and it was like, what? And then there was like Sonic in Mario Land, something like that. Basically, they just took Super Mario Land and replaced Mario with a really crudely drawn Sonic the Hedgehog, It's like that. I mean, for a tenner, it's not bad, but it's certain stuff like that, and you still find them knocking about. That's what I was saying. The thing is, it's because it's just all on like a memory card with, like what they call it, is it NES on a chip?
Yeah.
And it's just all like NES on a chip. Here, I've just noticed, Larry. I've just looked on YouTube, and it's got this stream live, and your Ataku Plays Retro streams also showing up as live.
Oh, is it still on live now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's strange.
Yeah.
I thought I cancelled it.
Hang on, let me click on it and see if it's still playing. Just having a think about it. Having a think. Yeah, it still seems to be playing. So you need to cancel that.
I don't know. I'll see if I can do this at the same time. What's the live stream on? What's happened? What's happening here? Right, Nosy says. What does Nosy say? Nosy says, won't be joining you tonight. I'll gang around the live chat. And then he goes, hang around the live chat. Can't be old retro games.
I don't know, some retro shit.
I mean, there's, there was like that whole fiasco a couple of months ago with what was supposed to be a, retro PlayStation 1, which just turned out to be a cheap knockoff that was sort of being pushed by Sony, but it wasn't Sony that had technically made it.
Never heard of that. I know that there's a couple of there's been a couple of like consoles out that look like PlayStations, but they're not. They've just got like NES games on and stuff like that. I do know there was one that was it was running Bleem. It was just literally like an emulator and a memory card, and the emulator was Bleem, and they were just running games off the memory card, and that one was all right, but it wasn't very good. But I must say, when I did see the official PS1 retro thing, I can't say I was that impressed with it. It's it's not got any games on that made me think, oh, I must get that. Yeah. I mean, it's sort of a thing, really. I think there's quite a lot of purposely done restrictions on some of these like retro consoles that are coming out. A lot of it's down to licensing. I mean, on the Atari ones, very rarely you'll see an official Atari, like the Atari flashbacks and stuff like that. It's rare that you'll see one of them that's got things like Space Invaders and Galaga and stuff like that on it, because they belong to Namco, and Namco make their own retro things, the plug and play sort of games. I can't remember who it was, one of Blokes to Watch on YouTube. Is it the 8-bit guy?
Yeah.
He had a couple of them where, like you said there, like you get the Pac-Man console, and it's like when he got the Pac-Man, the Pac-Man console, and I'm like, in one way that could be really good, because you get Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Pac-Land, 1, 2, and 3. But then when plugged in, it were just different versions of Pac-Man. It weren't, any of the other stuff, and it's like, and this is like 20-something quid, and it's like, no, you're all right. I've got Pac-Man on my phone. So it's like, and that I downloaded that for free. So why would I want to pay 25 quid just to play Pac-Man and 7 different versions of Pac-Man, which is just like, Time Attack and things like that. The problem is some of them they do it, they produce the retro consoles, and then they don't actually realise that, people want to play the games, but they want to play, they want to play a lot of games, sort of thing, and they don't seem to understand that people aren't going to buy stuff if it's crap quality.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Speaking of computers and whatnot and consoles, I mean, this is me more or less making a hypothetical judgment based on various issues I've had within the last year. But I am actually convinced that Microsoft are purposely trying to sabotage Windows 7.
It wouldn't surprise me.
The reason I believe this is because over the course of the last 12 months,
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct,
Sorry about that.
but it's wordy and hard to read.
What the fuck?
The writer's message, and the word choice is bland. Grammarly's cut.
Right, that's sort of. I'm just trying to turn off that game stream live because I stopped recording it.
Well,
I don't know what's going on.
The thing as I was saying with this whole Windows thing, it's just a theory, but basically, on about 2 occasions in the last 6 to 8 months, after doing a major update that's popped up for Windows 7, the next day after the update, Windows 7 just basically goes to shit. And on 2 occasions, I've had the boot files being corrupted. And I've ended up having to use my Windows 7 recovery disk to repair my computer effectively. Yeah. And I'm convinced it's Microsoft and that they're trying to screw up.
I'm going to say I didn't know that they were still doing updates for Windows 7.
They are.
Because they've done, I mean, the Windows 7, I mean, what we've had Windows 7, then Windows 8, Windows 8. or whatever it was, and then they jumped straight to Windows 10. And I thought Windows 7 now will be that far behind they just wouldn't bother with it anymore. I know they do like security updates and so. I mean, it's like I've got Windows 8.1. I never bothered going up to Windows 10. But they do there's updates for that every so often, but they tend mostly just to be updates for like Windows Firewall and stuff like that. I've yet to see them do a proper like system shake-up for Windows 8. But then again, they've largely abandoned that. I mean, hang on, let me have a look here.
Well, as I said, it's purely...
I think you need to go to the live event thing or cancel the other one.
What's that?
No, just saying, I think you need to go to the live event thing or cancel the other one. There's like a tab in like you go into your thingy management center on YouTube.
Yeah, is it like you create a studio?
Yeah.
Right.
In there it should let you see what live streams you've got on.
I'm in my creator studio now, so.
Oh. I'm just looking at the. Let's have a look.
Right, video manager. So.
I'm old enough to remember when they. Everybody was on Windows XP, right? So everybody used Windows XP, and then they released this piece of software called was it X Windows Genuine Advantage or something like that, and it was shovelware that came with an update.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what if you were sat there with your Windows XP installer disks and everything like that, it would still tell you that your copy of Windows was not genuine. Yeah. And therefore you weren't allowed to do anything. But it had come up in handy. It said, but we're about to release Windows Vista.
Right.
So
I think that's done now.
Yeah. I think it has because your picture quality and that's just improved dramatically.
Yeah, right. That's done. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
That's the thing. Yeah, and then I'm going to say, I mean, they've abandoned Vista now. So if anybody's still running Vista, there's not going to be much updates. And when I've just looked there, Windows 7 was released in 2009. So we're talking 10 years ago. So they'll not be very happy about that. But I think it's part of the kind of planned obsolescence thing they do. Like when they start getting, it starts getting on a bit. They do stick, bits and bobs of dodgy programming into, basically it's like, yeah, you look at you're running this old operating system and it's not really compatible with a lot of the new stuff. So, you want to be techie, you want to be looking at upgrading sort of thing.
The thing is, in all honesty, I have tried Windows 10. I had problems with Windows 10 constantly, and I just couldn't be bothered. And I've not had any issues with 7 apart from with these updates, but I'm not bothering with them anymore, and I've had no problem since. Yeah. I'm happy to stick with 7 until I absolutely have no choice to go to 10. I will stick with 7 until that day comes, whenever that'll be. Because at the moment,
that's the thing. You might end up after Windows 10. You might end up having to go out with that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I've had a couple of Windows laptops and an Android tablet, but no, I'm an Apple man. I've got a MacBook, so.
Oh dear.
Well, the thing is, to be fair, a lot even the way I look at a lot of current games that are coming out, they're still Windows 7 compatible. So I don't think Windows 7 is going to go anywhere anytime soon.
No, it's the Windows 7 compatible because generally a lot of the Windows stuff uses the same kernel, so they'll be compatible. It's just that if you had two PCs next to each other, one with Windows 7 and the other with Windows 10, but they were both the same spec, it would run a lot better on Windows 10 because that's what it was designed for. The program was designed to cope with the Windows 10's particular quirks and stuff like that. It'll run on Windows 7, yeah, but you even though the computers would be the same spec, you'd still get like a bit of skipping and like a lot like hang times on loading and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like I say, it's if you don't want to spend, I mean, fucking, what is it, I know Windows XP ended up being the most copied operating system ever. You know, it's like the subway
system was XP.
You what?
It was quite XP was quite possibly the best operating system.
I wouldn't go back to it. I mean, I'm quite happy with Windows 8.1. Well, when I first got my laptop, it had Windows 8 on it, and unfortunately, Windows 8 is set up for, was basically designed to be the operating system for touchscreen tablets.
Yeah, it was technically an Android system, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they were preloaded it onto laptops, and it's like, well, half the functionality didn't work properly because obviously a laptop isn't touchscreen. And I was like, what the fuck's going on here? And then I looked at it, it said like, press releases. Microsoft will be releasing Windows 8.1, which is there for laptop owners because they sort of realised they'd shot themselves in the foot. Because we're like, well, we're going to force you, because obviously if you sell Microsoft products or if you sell PCs, they force you to put Microsoft Windows, whichever operating system they're currently selling on it. Like you couldn't walk into PC World and say, I want a PC, but I want, like Linux or something on it. They'd say, well, here's a PC with Windows on. You can format the hard disk yourself and put Linux on it. They won't do it. But yeah, it's they shove all that stuff in. But then it's like I said, they shot themselves in the foot with making you have Windows 8 on a laptop because it just didn't work. So they had to get somebody to basically go through Windows 8 and take out all the touchscreen stuff and then kind of update it so that it'd actually work in a fucking laptop.
I avoided 8 and I avoided Vista and I avoided 8. I just didn't like either of them.
Vista wasn't bad. Vista was, I would say, Vista wasn't as good as XP, which is the one it replaced. But then again, XP only got really good once they got past Service Pack 3, which was towards the end of its life.
Yeah, that's true.
Vista basically did the same. When it was getting towards the end of its life and they released, I can't remember if it was Service Pack 2 or 3 for that. That was fine. There was no problems with it. It was dandy. They'd ironed out all the wrinkles in it. But then, the final Service Pack for it, they went, oh yeah, well now we're moving on to like Windows 7 and stuff. So like they get something perfect. But Joey, it's because they want money. It's just, they get something perfect and running the way people like it, and then they go, oh yeah, but now you've got to upgrade to this.
Yeah, it's like what they do, like Microsoft. Like I think they make the Xboxes, so eventually, like they used to have that red ring of death thing. They've done that probably deliberately. Eventually, it'll run down, and you have to go and buy another one.
That wasn't a deliberate thing. That was them trying to save money on building it. Yeah, and it's like then when people started reporting red rings and they figured out what it was, and all it was what were it? The motherboard needed to have, oh god, what was it? An extra something stupid like 3mm clearance to the board that was underneath it, because when it got hot, the little plastic, the metal legs that it sat on would expand, and that would touch something else, and that would then basically short out your Xbox. Yeah. And they said the only way you can do it is to keep your Xbox cool, or you'd have to get one of them like third-party things where they just open your Xbox up, take the metal legs out, put plastic ones in, but that'd void your warranty.
Did the whole red circle thing actually happen during the Xbox's official public reveal?
No. I don't think, anyway. Not during the reveal.
I'm pretty sure.
I think you're thinking of when they launched Windows 90. Was it 98? When they launched Windows 98, when Bill come out on stage and were like, introducing Windows 98, and he turned computer on, and it blew screen straight away.
Yes, yeah, that's what.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of that.
Yeah, that was it. I was thinking of something where there was basically a blue screen of death on a live presentation. That's probably
I don't think. No, I'm going to say I know that the 360 didn't red ring on things, but not long after it came out, they were getting loads of them returned because obviously the fucking It's like, well, I bought this Xbox, you know, for like 200 fucking quid or whatever, and not happy that I've been playing it for like, you know, fucking 8 hours and it's broke already.
Yeah. Well, of course, would this.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, later generation Xboxes didn't suffer from it because they sort of figured out, you know, oh, if we give the buds that little extra bit of clearance to let the air flow through it, rather than trying to pack it into a teeny tiny little space. Mind you, I think they did come out with, before they did the revision to the build, they came out with something, because my mate's brother, how many? I think he had about 7. He had to keep returning his Xbox because he kept getting red rings. And he had about 7, and then they said, oh, well, why don't you try this peripheral, you know, and something you plugged into where the power cable plugs into the Xbox, and then plugged the power cable into it, and it was like a fan, and it would blow air through the vents.
Yeah.
And oh, well, you know, it's not very good, but if that's what they're saying that you need to do, and they went, oh yeah, but if you attach this to your Xbox, it can void your warranty because there's a slight chance that plugging this fan in will cause a voltage drop off, which will short your Xbox out. And it's like, well, that's good, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I'm going to say the red ring, because I'm going to say was it the PS3 or the PS4 had a similar problem? Was it the yellow light of death or whatever it was? I can't. What was that one? Yeah, was that was that something to do with it overheating?
No, when the PS4 got released, it technically got released a week early in order to compete with the Xbox, and it was released without a much-needed software patch. And it was a software patch that ultimately fixed the problem. And the reason I remember this so well is because the week the PS4 got released, I was still working at Argos. Yeah. And the amount of calls we got from pissed off people, you know, like, oh, I'm at PlayStation, I bought it from Argos today and it ain't working. I would be like, well, it's nothing to do with us if there's a technical problem because we don't make the bloody things.
No.
It got to the point where I literally took 2 minutes to Google it, found out that Sony had admitted, yeah, we've basically fucked up. This is the problem. And the next time I got a call about it, I just said to the guy, look, tell you what, mate, if you've got a computer with you right now, yeah, right, Google PlayStation 4 right now, read the article, and then tell all your friends and stop calling us because it's not our problem, it's Sony that have screwed up. And we stopped getting calls after that.
Yeah. So what they call it? Because I know that they did what they call it. I can remember a lad when I were in Game Station. That tells you how long ago that was. And he bought an Xbox. They were complaining that it didn't work properly, and it was because he'd not got it connected to internet. You know, back in those days when you didn't really have to have your console on internet.
Yeah.
You know, and he'd not got his connected to internet, and half the games he was buying weren't working because obviously they needed day one patches.
Oh, right, yeah, I can see the problem there.
Yeah, and like I said there, they said, well, you've got connected to internet. It's like, but I ain't got internet at home. We're like, well, there's nothing we can do about it. It's not, you know, we're not going to refund you because obviously it's not our problem. It's like, so I can remember when you used to have to buy, was it the PS2, you had to buy an extra thing to plug into it to play online.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Also back in the quaint old days of like when, you know, you got a console and it was like, oh, you can play this online. It's like, online? Wow. Yeah. Used to be, what was the other one? The Dreamcast had a 33K modem that you could buy for it.
That was Sega's last console, wasn't it?
That was a very short-lived console, was the Dreamcast.
Yeah. But the funny thing was I think it was Quake for the Dreamcast, and if you could play it online, obviously, if you had the modem to plug into it. But what it was is people that were playing the PC version found that the Dreamcast version of the game was being hosted on the same servers as the PC version, you know, when you were playing online multiplayer. And somebody found a way of cracking the game for the PC that would allow you access to the Dreamcast servers. And So people would be playing on Dreamcast, all of a sudden they start getting like massive lag, you know, as if lag weren't bad enough with a fucking 33k modem as it was. But, you know, you start getting massive lag, and then they get people just fucking suddenly appearing, and because the PC version ran faster, you know, than the Dreamcast version, they were like getting fucking their asses handed to them and everything. I think it was Quake. It was either Quake or Unreal. I can't remember. It was one of them. Actually, that's the game I entered in years. Fucking Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do they still make that?
I don't think there's been an Unreal game for a while. They did release one, I believe, about 6 or 7 years ago. But I think it's been that. I think that was the last one they released. I think it's been a good few years since there was an Unreal game. I'm gonna have a look. Actually, I'm curious. I'm pretty sure there was one, like I said, maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Because that Unreal Tournament, that was a fucking awesome LAN party game. You know, with all the different game modes you could play it on. You know, like you either straight deathmatch or team deathmatch, capture the flag. Then you had flag ball. You know, then the what we call it, the swarm. Swarm, where you just have to survive as long as you can, and fuck it on. Yeah, so
the last one that was released was Unreal Tournament 3, and that was in 2007.
Okay, now I think the last one I played was Unreal Tournament 2004, I think it was. So yeah, that's fucking.
There was a game. I don't know if you remember the cartoon show called Celebrity Deathmatch.
Oh yes, yeah.
I remember I had the game because I had an original Xbox in Germany at my dad's, and I also had it for PS2 as well. I played it all the time. That was so much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, damn. So anyway, have you lads put your monies away to buy your porn pass?
What's that for?
Oh, you've not heard? Yeah, have you not heard? It's the government, in their wisdom, decided
about.
From April 1st, if you want to watch any porn online, you have to buy a license, basically.
I'm going to ask, is it a genuine thing? This is actually that is actually happening.
It's actually a genuine thing, yeah. Because the idea behind it is that they don't want kiddie winkies getting access to disgusting porn. So what they're going to do is they've brought in like an age verification system where you have to pay for a license, and then that license covers you. So if you want to watch porn, like you got Pornhub or something like that, and it'll automatically bring up a screen that says put in your license number or whatever to prove that you're over 18. And you've got to pay for that, obviously. Or you could just get a VPN like everybody else is going to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. I'm going to say Sargon's not long since put a video up about it, and like I said there, the weird thing was the first stage of this, like, this sort of attack on people's, private, sexual privacy. Yeah. Was when the banned certain types of pornography or certain sex acts from being able to be shown on film. But then they realised that wouldn't work, because if you ban that here, there's nothing stopping you from, getting like American porn or something. So what they did was they went, right, instead of completely banning it, we'll just say it's now illegal to film certain sex acts in the UK. And it's like, well, that's fine, but we could still get American porn that's got that in, and German porn and whatever. And it was stuff that wasn't really that bad. A couple of things that were there. And then now they've done the thing where, oh, yeah, well, even though we did that and banned these certain sex acts, where there's kiddies still getting old porn, so we're going to do this. And it's like, yeah, but, Twitter's got loads of porn on it. So are you going to put any verification on Twitter as well? Or do you have to buy a fucking jizz ticket to go on Twitter?
You think about it, if you're putting it that way, then you go there, so, you know, they're going to put that bloody whatever it is, porn pass thing on bloody Amazon. Because you can buy porn on Amazon. So, you know, they're going to put it on Amazon.
Mm.
You know, they're going to put it on eBay. You know?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's like I say, it's more of this, you know, gradual creep where the government's trying to, you know, overstepping its mark, and they're trying to take more and more.
I'm not really fussed about it, to be honest.
Hey, there's no wrong with having a good wank occasionally.
Well, I've got a nice stash of porn that I can watch the old-fashioned way. So,
what on VHS?
DVD. Because on Leicester's Market, the guy who actually sells toys, the same guy who runs the toy stall, actually sells adult DVDs, and he had porn DVDs.
What, in the toy stall?
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Trading Standards haven't been to have a word with him then.
I don't know if he doesn't have them anymore, but he had a section of adult DVDs. He started keeping them in a little basket with the other Blu-rays and DVDs in hopes that the kids wouldn't see them.
Yeah.
Well, that's nothing. Back when I was first at college, I was like 17. One of my mates in my college group, they got like a Saturday job working at some local kind of like video shop like, you know, second-hand DVD shop. And they came in at the Monday morning and said, bloody hell, I had a right shock Saturday morning when I had my first shift. Wow, what happened? So, well, I was just restocking a load of the kids' DVDs. They've only got the pornography section right next to the kids section. They said literally you had like Thomas the Tank Engine right next to like bloody, I don't know, Teenagers Go Wild 3. You know, it was...
I'm going to say, were it Amazon or something that were selling... I remember it was news at Christmas when people were buying DVDs and for kids for Christmas, and then when they were putting them on, it was fucking porn. Mommy, what's that? Oh, you don't need to know. Yeah. But the thing is, it's they're trying to, you know, they're encroaching more on people's lives and trying to dress it up for saying, oh, we're gonna, you know, it's to safeguard the kids.
Yeah, I already know what I'll be using. I'll just be using Tor.
Yeah, Tor, or just use a VPN. I mean, bloody hell, that's all everybody else does. But yeah, they're going that and saying like, oh, you know, it's to protect the kids, and it's like there wouldn't be this problem if parents didn't.
Well, parents, basically.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, I can remember years ago I was talking to somebody on Facebook and we were saying some like fucked up shit. You know, like he'd done a post and it was something a bit gross, and then I'm like saying gross shit and he's saying gross. And somebody come along and went, "Do you mind not saying that? My kids could see this." And it's like, well, if your kids could see this, why are you not watching what they're doing online? It's like, are you fucking trying to tell me what my kids can and can't do? I'm like, yeah, because that's what your job should be.
Yeah, bad
it's
point.
like, you know, it's like, well, you know, oh, we'll just sit kids down in front of a computer and leave them. They'll be all right for a few hours. And, you know, it's like you just go on Google and type in any random word and it'll find porn.
Yeah, Rule 34.
Yeah, it'll find porn. It doesn't matter what it is. You go any search engine, it doesn't matter whether it's fucking Google or that was it Bing, is it? That's Microsoft's one. I don't even know. I used to know about 24 different search engines, but now it's just fucking Google basically, isn't it?
Vista, if that's still around.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Google Chrome, which is a multi sort of search engine because you have your Google account.
Yeah, but it's just Google, though, isn't it? It's like I say, Google's a search engine. You know, I'm talking about like there used to be. Oh God, there used to be. Well, there's always been Google. There used to be Lycos. What else? Lycos, Ask Jeeves, Bing. Vista, was it Alta Vista? Oh God, I can't remember anymore. Yeah, I can't remember anymore off the top of my head. It's been that long since I've even had to think about it. But yeah, it's like you go onto any search engine and just type words. It'll find some porn.
Yeah, it will.
if you just leave your kids in front of a computer and you know, they'll find porn. It don't matter whether you've got a fucking jizz ticket or not. They'll find it. Whether they want to find it is another thing. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you're that scared of your kids finding porn online, then, you know, you shouldn't be just leaving them to it.
Install a firewall and parental controls.
That don't work, that have never worked. Bloody arcade, there were a thing, I can remember, when I was about 13, 14, there was a thing, and it was like, you know, one of these outrage, you know, things, and it was on, I think it was on Watchdog, and it said about kids getting, you know, 3.5-inch floppy disks with porn on. And this woman, she's like, oh, well, we bought a computer for my son to use for school, you know, back in, I think it was like back in days when computer was like 386, 486, you know, pre-Pentium days.
Yeah.
Yeah, she says, and she says, he was sat upstairs with his friend. She says, and I kept hearing giggling. And she says, so I went up to see what they were doing. And she says, and when I went into his bedroom, they both sat there and just looking at the computer. They weren't doing anything on it. And she says, they both sat there and they both sat sort of giggling. She says, and, you know, I thought, oh, that's a bit strange, but, you know. And then she says, and then as soon as I went away, they started again, you know, like giggling and whatever. She says, I managed to creep up and open the door. She says, and they were sat there looking at pornography. And it was like, you know, back in them days, you know, it's like a 3.5-inch floppy you could get, was it about 1.5 meg on it, which was, you know, not exactly ultra HD, you know, resolution photos. You know, you probably get one photo on a floppy disk.
Yeah.
And what it was is somebody was doing these discs with the, you know, like with you know, nudie ladies on it. And what it was is they'd put a thing in so that if you tap the space bar, you know, like if you were sat looking at this like picture and you heard somebody coming, you tap the space bar, and what it'd do is it'd, you know, like hide the picture and take you back to the
so basically like the image.
Yeah, so that's what these lads were doing there, and they were like, oh, it's outrageous that that's happening. It's like, well, you know, I mean, back when I was that age, you know, you could see porn on telly. You know, it's like Channel 5 used to, you know, have a good thing of showing softcore porn. If you had satellite, you could watch porn on there.
Yeah.
You know? And, you know, if you got a few quid and and you knew somebody who would go in shop, you could get them to get you a fucking, you know, cunt book from shop if you were that desperate for a tug, you know. And it's like, so, you know, all this stuff, it's like, if people want to find porn, they'll find it. You know, it doesn't matter what the barriers you put in place, someday you get hold of pornography some way, because end of the day, you know, it's like I say, everybody has to have a good wank now and again, you know. Anybody that says they don't is a complete fucking liar.
Well, yeah. True.
Yeah, well, no, I never fucking thinking myself. And it was funny when they brought in the what they call it, you know, when they banned all these certain sex acts, and they said, oh, it was, you know, basically to protect the kids. And it turned out one of the people who was on the committee that had come up with these rules, you know, we've got to ban this sort of porn, that sort of porn. He got caught with fucking child pornography.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, it was like, so he's moralising, you know, you're not allowed to see fisting or, you know, face squatting or anything like that. Yeah, he sat there knocking one out to fucking kiddie porn, the dirty bastard.
Oh.
Hopefully when he got to prison, he got shit kicked out of him like he should do.
Yeah.
Like I said there, they shouldn't put fucking kiddie fiddlers in prison. They should just burn them.
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
There's been a hell of a lot of... I've noticed within the last month, largely thanks to you, Carl, and all the news you put up, there's been a hell of a lot of bloody paedophiles appear to have been arrested in the last couple of months.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of kiddie fiddlers getting their thingies, getting the just desserts. I mean, I was disgusted the other day about there was one on where a woman had been caught. What were it? Oh, she's been caught filming. She was teacher at like a fucking nursery or something, taking dirty pictures and, you know, like sexually assaulting kids, and she won't face any jail time. It's like, what the fuck?
Is it because
if I did the same thing? Yeah, if I did the same thing, I'd be in fucking jail for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So she's been abusing kids and she's basically got away with it.
Yeah, abusing kids and distributing child pornography, and basically she's got off with it.
Oh.
Any reason why she's basically
probably been dismissed from her job. But...
Yeah, it's a pussy pass.
Yeah, I know. Is it because she's a female, because she's a woman, or something like that?
I don't know. I can't remember the particulars, but to me, it's a case of, right, you've been caught filming and distributing child pornography. How do you plead? You know, guilty or not guilty? If they say not guilty, right, we go through the court claim. We, you know, prove that you did it. If they say guilty, it's like, right, okay, thank you for confessing. Now, you know, we tie you to a post, we dox you in petrol, we set you on fire. That's it. That's how it should be. You know, it's like, are there any extenuating circumstances for you possessing child pornography? You know, and it's like, because you... See, the weird thing is, you can end up with kiddie porn in your internet cache if you're not careful. You know, like I said, you know, when you search on Google and it'll always find porn. Sometimes you can go and search for things and it'll put kiddie porn in your browser cache.
Yeah,
which is one of the reasons why I've got mine set up to basically every time I turn my browser off, it empties the cache out. I never look at it. But if the police came and caught you with that on your computer, would you be a kiddie fiddler or not? It's like, you don't know it's there. You've never looked at it because you don't know it's there. It's ended up on your computer. So have you downloaded child pornography? You know, and the answer is no. But because you're caught in possession of child pornography, you know, and then you could say, when they say, are there any extenuating circumstances that, you know, for you to be in possession of child pornography, which there isn't, but except for that one, you know, I wasn't aware that there was child pornography on my computer, which that opens up a gate where everybody could say, oh, well, I wasn't aware.
I mean, hypothetically, let's say that scenario happened with someone. Let's say that happened. How the hell would you even go about proving that, you know, you were generally innocent and you had no knowledge of it?
I'm going to say exactly. I mean, they can look at you, what they call it, and find out whether images are being accessed or not. You know, that's not hard to do because your computer keeps a record of whenever when you've opened files up to look at. But I think the main difference between kiddie fiddlers and people who have, you know, accidentally ended up with stuff on is the fact that the person who's accidentally got stuff on might have something in their browser cache that's never been opened. Whereas a kiddie fiddler will have folders and hard drives and stuff with, you know, fucking like 10-year-old blondes or whatever, teenage parts and shit like that. You know, and it's them sort that need to go to the fucking furnace.
Yeah. Or just put a rope around their neck and that. Yeah.
Well, no, it's like I said, the best way of getting rid of kiddie fiddlers is to throw them into the furnace at a power station, because then at least they're providing some use, because the bodies will burn and help generate electricity. You know, putting a rope around the neck should be reserved for murderers and rapists.
Yeah.
And instead of using the neck snap method, they should use the strangulation method.
Yeah, well, I know hanging largely depends. Doesn't it largely depend on the distance of the drop as to whether or not the neck will snap?
Yeah. In order to do a proper either a long drop or a short drop, they have to take into account how much you weigh, the distance that you need to. Well, they tell you how much you weigh, and then that helps them to work out the distance you need to drop in order to provide enough force to just snap your neck. Because if they put too much force, it'll rip your head off.
Ouch.
Not enough force, and it won't do anything, or it will do something, but you probably end up paralyzed or something like that. And you know, they try to avoid, you know, having people's heads ripped off or, you know, paralyzing them. The strangulation method is just basically where they tie a rope around your neck and then, you know, hang you up off the floor so you can't touch the floor, and you slowly suffocate. The drop method is more humane, but I think you know, for certain horrible crimes, the punishment should be also suitably horrible. You know, that otherwise it's not punishment. You know.
Yeah, well, you know, speaking of all the crimes, you've got that bloody absolute maniac arsehole piece of shit who's just slaughtered 60 people.
Yes, is it 60 now? I thought it was 50 last I looked.
Well, it's 59. So it's not. It's more or less 60.
Yeah, last I looked, it was 50. Last I looked, it was 50. It was originally 49, and then one of the children that he'd shot died. So it took it up to 50 dead and 48 injured.
It's gone up to 59 dead.
Mind you, I must say I've the live stream he did because the sick bastard live streamed doing it, and I sat and watched the live stream last night because it's available in certain places for you to watch.
Yeah, I bet it is.
I sat and watched it last night, and you need a strong stomach because there's some stuff in there that you see in films. You know. It's like I say, you know, you'll see it done in films and TV programs, but it takes a strong stomach because you have to realise that what you're seeing on screen is actually people being killed.
Yeah.
And the weirdest thing is though, he planned for it to go totally different because there's a bit at the end after he's finished doing it. He goes back to his car and he opens the boot up of the car, and inside the car he's got he's got another rifle and then like holdalls with, you know, like spare magazines and stuff like that. And then he's got cans of petrol. And he shows you like he's basically shot everybody that he can shoot. And he goes back to the car and he picks up one of the cans of petrol, and then he sort of like stands there for a minute holding it in his hand. And then he throws it back in and he gets in the car. And as he's driving away, he just says, "That did not go how I planned."
Right.
I was like, what the fuck are you going to do? I think what idea is. I mean, it'll come out in court because they've got him in court, haven't they? But I presume what they're going to do is he'll. I think what he was planning on doing was going in and you know, shooting the place up a bit and then getting as many people hostage as he could, and then burning the place down. But obviously, he didn't do that.
I know it was in New Zealand where it happened.
Yeah.
Was it in Auckland?
Christchurch.
Christchurch.
Yeah. So that's what I say.
The thing is, I know like Facebook and Twitter and all that are basically doing everything they can to keep it off there. But as you said, Carl, there's plenty of places on the internet it'll be floating around, and I have bet it'll be on 4chan, 8chan, and probably Reddit.
8chan, no.
No, well,
definitely not 8chan because he posted his manifesto on 8chan before he set off to do it, and it's basically in the past couple of days, since it happened, what's been blamed for it? Donald Trump, the National Rifle Association, 8chan, 4chan, UKIP, what else? There's a load of stuff being blamed for it, and quite literally, include Gamergate as well. Somehow Gamergate got pulled in.
What the hell has any of that got to do with a psychopath slaughtering 50 people? Yeah,
and you know, all this stuff's been blamed for it, and it's like, you know, the gun law. They've also blamed the gun laws in New Zealand, and it's like they say, you know, the gun laws in New Zealand are a lot tougher than they are in America.
Yeah, I've got to ask this because I mean, I'm gonna be frank. I'll be bloody honest. I have been sort of tempted to try and find the video, but considering you've basically watched it, Carl, I'm going to ask you: is it true that at some point in the video he starts ranting about PewDiePie?
No.
All right, fair enough. I just heard apparently there's some reference to PewDiePie in the video.
But what there is what he did was all the guns he got. I mean, when I was watching the video, I was taking a note of what firearms he had, and it started off with he got sort of an AR-15 type rifle. He was sat in his car. He got an AR-15 type rifle down the side. You know, again the door. You know, the driver's side door, between his leg and the door, sort of thing. He got 3 what looked like shotguns on the passenger seat. And then in the boot, it got another shotgun and a rifle. And it's like I say, and on these weapons, they basically painted slogans on the rifles and stuff like that. It painted things like like the 1488 and Heil Hitler and stuff like that on it, and then he painted things like subscribe to PewDiePie and stuff. It was basically copying memes.
Right.
But at no point did he shout subscribe to PewDiePie. But in his manifesto that he posted on 8chan, he made reference to Candice Owens.
Who?
If you don't know her, you don't need to.
Fair enough.
But she's basically to think that Candice Owens is a female black conservative American. So I'm not quite sure what I haven't found his manifesto anywhere. I wanted to read it, but it's been taken down from places where it had been copied to. I want to read it. Apparently, it's like a barely coherent ramble. Like the sort of thing madmen do. They write things down and it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's all that. But no, at no point did he, while he was doing it, did he say anything. No. While he's doing it, it was more or less silent. I mean, the only time I heard him speak while he was doing it was, I think he said something like "oh shit" or something like that, because he dropped one of his magazines on the floor when he was reloading his rifle. Yeah. That was it. But he didn't say anything else, or things like I think he shot at somebody out on the street and missed him, and he went like, "oh come on," or something like that.
Well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I haven't seen that video, but I have seen a video which shows the aftermath of, I believe it was the school shooting that happened in America last year. Or it might have been. I don't know.
There's that many of them in America.
There was a school shooting about a year or two ago, and somebody who was in the school and was basically hiding during the shooting did a video while they were being evacuated, and down like this one corridor, there's like 5 or 6 like bodies basically down this corridor. It's like blood everywhere and everything. Can't remember what school it was. I can't remember.
I think that was the one that kicked off the pseudo career of that David Hogg lad.
Oh yes. I
think it was that one, and there was a lot of stuff said about that as well that blatantly wasn't true.
No, so it's very much an aftermath video. It's pretty grotesque, really. But
yeah,
I can't even remember how I found it. I just came across it.
Yeah. This is the thing. What you have to remember is that it might, I sat and watched that one from Christchurch. I don't say, "oh, you sick bastard" and stuff like that. You see stuff like that on the news.
Yeah.
Watch news reports and you'll see things, like from Middle East or Africa, and like war zones and stuff. They'll show you bodies. They'll show you blood and guts hanging out and people blown apart and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've seen plenty of videos that basically the BBC obviously would want to keep out of the public domain, but there's plenty of videos out there of basically first-hand accounts of kind of like the aftermath of ISIS, if you will. Basically, I've seen videos of people who have been crucified, people who have... I've seen one video of a load of Syrian soldiers who had been caught by ISIS fighters, and they'd all been lined up down one street, and they'd all had a head cut off, and all the heads were sitting in the laps.
Yep.
There's just loads of videos like that out there, because all this stuff, as you said, like the BBC, they'll have all that stuff, and people just throw it up online.
Yeah, it happens. This is the thing, though. It happens. It might be horrible, but death is a part of life. People die. People when you die, it's not always going to be, in a nice, comfy bed surrounded by your family.
Not necessarily.
It's like saying it's. I mean, I don't particularly like watching videos of people being killed and stuff like that, but I won't really say it's a morbid curiosity or anything. But it's like I say, once you get to the point where you can accept you know, that the world isn't a nice place and stuff happens. You know, it's a lot easier. You know, it makes it, not only it's a lot easier to watch sick shit, but it makes it a lot easier in your life as well.
Mm.
You know, it's like I say, there's a lot of people that go around and, you know, even the thought of being punched triggers the fuck out of them. You know, it's, if they get mugged or something. As I say, you know, it happens. You know, bad things happen, and you know, there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing we can do. Yeah. And it's one of the things is as well is if more people saw stuff like that, if they actually release the full video, you know, for people to watch, you know, officially, you can see, you know, that's what madness looks like. That's what an insane, you know, an insane guy with something quite clearly fucking wrong with him. That's what it looks like, you know. But you'd also need to see the things as well, you know, the other stuff, the other horrible things that people do. You know, like when people, you know, like when you get, you know, like where parents poison the kids and stuff like that, you know, to try and get sympathy and whatever. And you know, when women murder babies, you know, for some reason. You know, all stuff like that happens. But, you know, if they ever do release videos, it's usually, they always show videos of men doing violent things. You know, and it's you know, it's something that you have to accept. You know, people are capable of stuff like that. You know, in reality, anybody is capable of something like that. All it takes is just for, you know, a certain set of circumstances to happen, and anybody can become a murderer. You know, it's like I say, something snaps inside you. When you get people who go like, "Oh, I could never kill anybody." Oh, I bet you fucking could.
Everybody's got the potential to kill.
Yeah, everybody fucking can, because inside here, you've still got that hairy caveman. He's still there, by the back of your head, and at some point, under certain circumstances, everything can align and the switch can click on, and that fucking caveman comes flying out. And he will beat you to fucking death with his bare hands.
I mean, the first, I could say like the very first video I ever saw of real life, if you will, of the real human race, the reality of humanity, if you will. I would have been about 15, and it basically it was going around the school, and a lot of people had it on the phones. And it was basically a video of somebody, I think the Taliban had captured, and it's basically this guy having his head cut off.
Yeah.
And he's alive, and so basically there's like one guy holding him, and another guy's like a machete, and he said he doesn't cut his head off, he like you know, cuts it off, like saws it off.
Yes, I know the one you mean. That's not Taliban. That was in Chechnya.
Right. I mean, like I said,
that was in Chechnya. Yeah, they captured some. I think it was the Chechens or something had captured a Russian soldier, and one guy stood on his head, while another guy basically cut his throat and then cut his head off with a knife. Yeah, mind you, they do that in Middle East as well. You know, like ISIS and whatever. When they kill, they don't chop your head off with a sword or an axe. They kill you like they would a pig or a cow. You know, they cut your throat and, you know, let you bleed out a bit, and then then once you're dead, they cut your head off. It's it's not nice, and you know, it's like I said, stuff like that happens. It shouldn't, but it does. And the thing is, they feel justified in doing it, but you know, same with the you know, school shooters and stuff. They all think that what they're doing is all right for whatever reason. It's not. It's fucked up, but it happens, you know. And it's like I say, you know, when they go like, "Oh, we've got to stop this" and stuff like that. There's just as many, you know, like when they say about America, "Oh, we've got to, you know, more gun control." But there's just as many, you know, like school massacres where people have got, you know, used like knives and things like that.
Well, look what's happening in London at the moment.
Yeah. You know, people with fucking knives, and then, you know, ramming fucking trucks into people and running them over with cars and stuff like that, using bombs.
The world is just not peaceful, and it's never really going to be.
No, it never will be.
It's not.
It never will be.
It's not in our nature to be peaceful.
No, it's not in our nature. It never will be. It's quite literally. Even if we had this, this fantastic utopia where you got everything that you wanted. You didn't. Nobody were homeless. Nobody, would be hungry or anything like that. You'd have this fantastic world. There'd still be people fighting, because people just get bored, and people get bored, and they're like, well, what can we do? Oh, well, we'll
start a war.
Well, not necessarily start a war, but stuff happens. Like you get the, I don't like you, sort of thing. So we could have this, utopia. Everybody's got the same, but you'd still get people that are like, bored. So, let's go and beat up some black people. Let's go beat up some Jews. Like that. Just for something to do. That you'd still get that.
The world is full of many, many people, and there are people out there that will hurt, maim, and kill because they just simply, I don't know, just all they know, whatever they're capable of. But as you say, Carl, everyone's got it in there.
Yeah, some people do. Some people do it just because they enjoy it.
Children who are victims of abuse, even young children, in the cases kill. Because it's to say that they haven't learned to love or accept love.
Yeah.
So and there have been some very famous cases about that. There was the one Mary Bell, who was in the late 1960s. But there was a similar case in America in the 80s with a girl called Beth Thomas. Been adopted by a Christian family, but her birth dad had actually seriously abused her. She was trying to make several efforts to kill her little brother and her parents. They got the help for her before she actually did kill anyone. There's actually a docudrama of a.
I think I know which one you're on about. Yeah, tried doing. Yeah,
it's called Child's Rage.
Yeah, just gonna nip up, love it. Oh.
You still all right with our TF Nation arrangements, Sam?
Oh yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm all good with that.
Yeah, I've heard. Nolsey's told me he is actually coming now because he's had the opportunity to share with someone.
Yeah, that's all in the bag. I think that was a very last minute thing. I think he managed to make a last minute arrangement. So I'm all good with them, mate. Yeah, like I said, I can. Are you all right with me giving you the cash on the day?
Yeah. Of course, mate. That's fine.
All right, no worries.
No, I wouldn't expect you to try and send me, £200 cash in the post.
Well, I can always send it by PayPal, but say I just.
I don't have a PayPal.
Oh right, fair enough. But yeah, say I can give it to you on the day. It'll be easier anyway. Man. Well, I'll pick this up.
Oh. What one's that?
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, wow.
With the Queen film.
I haven't seen it yet.
Nah, it's real good. I'm actually, what I'm going to do, though, I'm thinking I'm actually just going to start going digital from now on. I'm going to stop buying DVDs because I'm running out of space.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to go digital from now on and just buy them all digitally, and that way they're not going to take up any space.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Well, it's a good thing that it makes things easier for us, but it won't support our brick and mortar shops, will it?
No, that's true. I mean, I'll still buy anime if it actual out on DVD. I'll still buy that, but actual DVDs, like film-wise, I am starting to think of just going digital just to save space.
Yeah. So good to say, it'll next few years there won't be any kind of physical media.
Oh yeah, it's good. I reckon that by the end of the next decade there will be no physical media. It'll be a thing of the past.
Yeah. Well, the closest you'll get to physical media is you'll probably be able to buy like a hard disk with, like 2,000 films and like 2,000 albums on or whatever, and that's probably the closest you'll ever get. But yeah, it's all going to say the whole thing about having something to hold in your hand. They were talking about this with somebody last night, and it's like, I'm not bothered about, films and TV series and music and stuff going digital, but the one thing I would like to keep physical is games.
Yes.
Because it's like I said there, it's like, yeah, all right, so getting the digital copy of a game might sometimes be cheaper, but more often than not, it isn't. But if, like, say, I put a game in the Xbox and I play it and then I uninstall it, if I want to play it again, I either have to re-download it, which can take, hours or whatever, or days, depending on the size of the game or, connection speed. Or I can just put the disc in and install it on the disc and be playing away within 15 minutes. And you actually feel like you've bought something when you've got a game in your hand.
Yeah. And it's like, I go to these second-hand shops, find those old Sega Mega Drive games, and that is so nostalgic. I mean, I didn't even have a Mega Drive when I was younger because it was just slightly before my time. I didn't have a console till I got my first PlayStation.
In the last 12 months, out of the games I've bought, only one of them's actually been on physical disc. The rest have all been download. That was only because that game in particular was technically on offer on physical disc for like a special price thing. So, and it came with like a little art book. It was Frostpunk. Good game.
Did you get it online?
Yeah, I know what game you're on about. Yeah, that's not a bad game though. Yeah. No, I'm going to say. I mean, I were looking at. I mean, I ended up getting Horizon 4 from Argos for 25 quid on disc. And it's like I say, I could have got it digital, but when I was looking, it's like there weren't any. It were all like 40 quid for a digital copy of Horizon 4, and it's like, why is the digital copy 40 quid, but the physical copy is 25?
That's weird.
That's one of the things where, they kept telling us over the years that, the reason why games are so expensive is because we have to put them on disc and that costs money and stuff. It's like, well, if you don't put them on disc anymore, then why are you still charging 40 quid for the fucking, what they call it? Why you for just the fucking ones and zeros, yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah, greed. That's the thing.
Yeah. But it'll be good for shops like Game to have those offers on. Like, every year you have, obviously they'll have a sale on every now and then you have Black Friday, January sales where they recently new titles can go down to practically half price. And that'll work in.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, it's, the like Game and HMV and all stuff like that keep having problems where they're going tits up and then they have to try and figure out a way of keeping the shops open and stuff like that. And it's, I feel bad when, when they have to, get rid of staff and stuff like that, because obviously, people are losing the jobs and the livelihoods or whatever. But let's face it, at the end of the day, within, probably not even, so we're talking 5 years from now, places like Game and HMV, there's no need for them to exist.
No, you're probably right. Yeah, I agree on that.
But not only can they find things cheaper online, but basically you'd never have to get up and leave your house.
Well,
you still would. You still would have. I mean, you can do all your shopping and everything online now and get it brought to you. I think most people don't like doing that though. Especially when it comes to like going food shopping. It's some people do get the just do the shopping on the website and get it delivered
online, but I prefer most of the time to go so I can see what I'm actually getting. I'm picking up.
Yeah, because a lot of time you go to shop and it's a lot cheaper just to go to shop and spend an hour wandering around supermarket than it is to get it delivered. It's like, all right, so getting it delivered means you ain't got to go out of house, but when they've run out of whatever it is that you want and stick an alternative in, and the idea, basically your choice is take the alternative or take nothing. And if it's something you wanted, it's like, well, bugger me, I could have gone to the shop and I could have just picked it up. must say though, Iceland has a weird way of doing their fucking online shopping. It's fucking stupid. Well, not online shopping, the home delivery. It's fucking stupid. You know, it's like you go into the Iceland shop, you do your shopping, you pay for it, they bag it up, and then you go home, and then they send somebody to fetch it to you later. Like, well, I might as well have just took it home.
Mm.
Yeah, I never got that.
I'll be frank, I have not shopped at Game in about 3 or 4 years. The only reason I no longer shop at Game is because my local Game, anyway, for reasons unknown, they no longer stock PC games. I don't know why.
I think you'll find most game shops don't have physical PC games anymore.
Yeah, well, Leicester's got two game shops, one in its main shopping centre and one, you know, in the outside city centre. And no, it's all on cards and codes. All the PC
yeah, it's. I'm going to say it's out. Last time I went into Game, the PC section consisted mainly of keyboards and, you know, like headsets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then the actual games bit was just a rack of, you know, Steam cards and Minecraft cards and stuff like that. Because there's no need for PCs to have games on disc anymore, which, you know, it's a shame, but...
I have on my Steam account, I have a total of 135 games.
And you never play any of them.
I play about 3 of them.
Yeah. I had to install Steam on here because I went to Game and I bought the Total War box set thing. It was basically all the Total War games up to, I forgot what it was, before Rome Total War 2 or something like that. And you know, in order to play that, you had to install Steam, and it's like, right, okay, so install Steam. And after that, I've not actually bought any games on Steam. I just, you know, stuff comes up free or whatever. It's got like a Steam code. Just let it download, and if it's any good, I'll play it. If it's not, I'll just fucking get rid of it. Yeah, it's like I say, I don't, you know, there's sort of, well, I'm not a particularly avid PC gamer anymore, so
no,
nothing really appeals to me.
You're a PC gamer, Sam. I mean, you don't have a console, do you?
No, I've been PC all my life. I've literally had, well, I could say I've had consoles, but when I say I've had consoles, I've had the early Ataris, which were kind of like consoles, but I've never actually owned a console. I've always been PC. Well, I suppose I count my DS. I do have a DS. But
yeah, I think one advantage for PC gamers over consoles is it just makes streaming easier. You don't necessarily need any actual hardware to do it.
No, that's true.
No, when I say it, I know with Xbox that's got thingy built into it, hasn't it? Streaming facility built in. All you need to do is just go on and set up your stream and then put your game on and it starts streaming. But I've never seen the point.
So I use a capture card. I've got a capture card now, and I've got an AV. My AV adapter, so I can plug in retro stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I mean,
oh, it's 12:15 now.
Yeah. Do you want to call it a night soon, lads?
I'm going to say I'm starting. I don't know. I've not been right well all this week, and I keep getting really tired all the time and everything. So it's like I'm starting to feel tired now, even though I didn't get up till late, and then I've dozed off this afternoon for a few hours. But I'm tired again now.
I haven't had the best week this week. I mean, my mum's been in hospital because she's got really bad sciatic pain. She's not around, she's getting much better now. She's not physically ill or anything, but she just can't move because of pain.
Yeah, I know how that feels. So I remember my last bout when I got the fucking sciatica. Jesus Christ! But literally, it's like, you know, can't get out of bed without somebody helping you. You know, then it's like can't really walk properly because you can't move you daren't move either your legs or your back in any way because it just feels like somebody's, you know, kicking you in the spine.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Yeah, hopefully she should be home in a few days. But she's been in over
Yeah,
a week.
I'm gonna say depending on how bad sciatica is, they'll give you some painkillers and then just keep you in for a couple of days and hopefully you should be all right after a couple of days. But
I say, if you don't mind me asking, Carl, has never landed you in hospital, has it? Or
no, I tend not to. I tend not to go like the doctors and the hospital route unless I absolutely have to. You know, it's like I say, I feel more comfortable at home. It's like last. I mean, like I said, this week I've just been racked with fucking pain. So I could have. Well, it's not like they can really do anything for me at fucking hospital, even if I did go. But you know, it's just like, just get in my bed. It's nice and comfy. I'm at home. You know, I ain't got strangers buzzing around and noisy hospital or whatever. I just take loads of painkillers, go to sleep, you know, and then have a few hours kick, wake up, you know, and have something to eat, and then get back in bed again. You know,
yeah.
I've never been in hospital with pain, although it's like I should have done a few times. You know,
my mum's had back trouble before, where she's had muscle spasms.
Yeah.
But this first time, she reckons she set it off. She was bending over to put salt in a dishwasher.
Yeah.
And then she wasn't able to move.
Yeah, it's surprising how what little you have to do to set it off. And it just comes out the fucking blog. And so last time I had proper dose of sciatica, all it was it started off, I got a weird pain in my right hip. It was just like a dull ache in my right hip. And I had it for about 3 or 4 days. And I just thought, it's just, standard aches and pains that you get. And, what did I do? I just went to get something out of the drawer in the kitchen. And all I did was slightly bend over. And that was it. And a fucking bang. The next week, I think it was nearly a fortnight in bed because I couldn't move or anything. And all because all I did was just slightly lean over to get a fork out of the drawer or something, when you're getting old, though, you have to put up with this sort of shit.
As I say, yeah, I think my mum's she's been moved to a different ward now for hopefully what will be her last couple of days because now she's accustomed to walking now with a frame because the pain's now getting much better. She's been on lots of painkillers, but she set it off again. She set the full pain off again a second time from using the frame too much.
Instead of taking it easy, she was like, I can use this frame to get about, and look, I can get back to normal using different. Shit, yeah. There's a reason why doctors tell you to take it easy.
Yeah, but you can't. The thing is, they can't discharge her until she can walk properly unaided again because she can't take the pain home with her.
No, that's the problem with a lot of stuff like that. I mean, it's like doctor keeps saying to me about why don't you have like a stick or crutch or to help you with walking, and it's like I said, well, where do I get one from? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, well, I mean, I've been referred to pain clinic again. So, he last time I seen him, he said he was writing a letter to pain clinic and see if he says, go, because I went to pain clinic once before and they basically said there weren't no what they could do for me. So it's like, all right. So he says, well, it's been a couple of years since you last went. He says, let's see if they've, booked their ideas up a bit, because there's bits and bobs they can do, even if it's something small like that, like giving you, like a crutch or walking stick or something. But just have to wait and see what happens, I suppose.
Certainly got your lot in life, haven't you, Carl?
Well, I have now. Then again, I suppose it's because of all the fucking stuff I was doing when I was younger, the not sleeping for days on end, going to work and working long hours and eating crap and then going pub all the time and drinking and taking drugs and not looking after myself and Well, say a lot of people say, like, you know, when they say, oh, people saying, you know, young'uns, look after yourself, you know, don't say it for a fucking laugh. Yeah. Ow. So there's one thing I would fucking do. It's like I'd try not to get as fucking wound up over things like I used to.
Yeah.
And it's like that. I'd get really. I'd like, you know. I'd like be thinking about work all the time and stressing about work all the time and everything like that. And then because I was stressing that much, I'd go and I'd start drinking, you know.
Yeah.
And that wouldn't do you any good. So yeah, it's like, say, if I didn't, you know, just more like I am now, where it's just like, you know, oh, shit happens, you know, fuck it, you know, you got to work and all these people, it's like, you know, fucking, you know, must hit targets, must smash targets, must prove I'm better than everybody else, and no, it don't do you any good.
Yeah, we've got a target thing now at work, which I don't think anybody really understands because it really doesn't make any sense. From what I understand, we basically we now have on the tills, you have some sort of target limit where you have to do something. I believe you have to have 200 units a day, which I think is like you have to have effectively sold 200 pieces of stock or items or something a day. And a lot of us are basically been asking the managers and the supervisors and anybody that'll listen, how exactly does this work? Because, you know, we might have a day where we're flat quiet and have less than 50 people at the tills, or we might have a day where we've got queues at the tills all day. You know, we literally, the way it works, we do not have a solid ratio for daily sales. So
that's the worst thing. That's the worst thing that any retail company can do. That is imposing daily sales targets on people, because for the simple fact is
they can't meet because of all the days they can't meet them.
Yeah, it's like I say, it's, you know, you can't force people to come into the shop and buy somewhere, you know. And even if people do willingly come into the shop to look around, if you ain't got something that they want to buy, they're not going to buy it. You know, or if they do come into the shop looking for a certain thing and you haven't got it, then they're not going to buy it. You know, so it's...
Yeah, I mean, every so often, one out of every few customers might go in and just have a browse, or they might see something that could be an alternative to what they want, and they might buy it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, when they go like, oh, today we need to be blitzing those, you know, fucking, I don't know, we need to be blitzing those Xbox games. It's like, well, that'd be all right, provided that, you know, nobody that owns a PS4 comes in.
Yeah.
You know, it's stupid. It's like, you know, somebody who's buying, you know, it's like when you go Poundland. This is one of the things I like. Poundland, you know, you go around, you get your bits. I mean, usually if I go Poundland, it's like, get some dog chews, maybe some Hot Wheels or whatever if they've got any, and, you know, some bits and bobs, batteries, whatnot that I'll buy from Poundland. You got counter and they're like, oh, can I interest you in, you know, like a box of Maltesers today? No, if I'd have wanted them, I'd have picked them up off the aisle that's got the sweets on.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, so yeah, fair enough, they're upselling, but I bet you those poor bastards have got a target. You've got to get rid of 50 boxes of Maltesers in a day. You know, it's like, well, you know, if people want to buy them, they'd either pick them up off the fucking shelf, or, you know, it's just the mind of some you know, sort of like middle management things when they're trying to do the targets and whatever. Sometimes you work places and they impose targets on you, not because they actually need to be fulfilled. It's just so that they've got something to moan at you about.
Well, one of the things in my last job, because it was obviously my last job, I worked on calls basically. I was customer service on Argos, dealing with all the people who call up and complain basically. We have one day it got introduced. We were going to have targets, and the problem was, after a while, they sort of abandoned it because they realised pretty quickly it was a stupid concept. Because the whole idea was, you had to have a quota of calls in a day, and it was something like 175 calls. I was like, you see, the problem we had there was, depending on the time of year, you would be busier on certain times of year. So on an average day, depending on what your shift pattern was and what kind of calls you were taking, you could either have 25 calls or you could have 150 calls. It really depended on the type of year and the type of calls. You would get more calls during, say, Christmas month than you would in, say, middle of February. Yeah. It didn't really make much sense. And then the other thing they did, which they ditched pretty quickly, was all your calls have to be 5 minutes or under.
Yeah, okay. that's always good Wi-Fi. They used to do well. They've done that at quite a few places I worked at. You know, like fucking call centers and shit. And it's like, oh, in your 8-hour shift, you're expected to take X amount of calls, but your call time's got to be less than 2 minutes, and your call quality has got to be more than 75%. And it's like, all right, so you go on, you've got 2 minutes basically to do something in, and then, you know, the do call monitors go, oh yeah, but you were quite short, and you know, your call was short, and you didn't build a rapport with the customer. And it's like, well, I've got 2 minutes, and there's like, you know, at least 60 seconds of that is me going through things I have to say. Yeah. You know, I can't build a rapport with a customer in 2 minutes and do that at the same time. Then one of his managers got clever ass on and went, oh, it's not that hard. Let me show you how to do it. So she did this call, and she's like, what the call, going on and whatever. And then she finished it, and she goes, there we go. She says, that's an example of a call that scores 100% on what they call it, you know, on call quality.
Yeah.
And it's like, look at the readout on her phone to say how long she'd been on. She'd been on the phone for 20 minutes for one customer. So it's like, so doing getting a score of 100% on call quality required you to take 10 times the amount that you were allocated to take calls in. And that was based on the people would be ringing up, placing an order, and then putting the phone down. When somebody rung up and wanted to do a complaint,
jobs, people mainly just take calls, don't they? But when I worked at Remploy, we had to make outgoing calls and take in calls. And what we used to have to do, we used to have to call the Remploy candidates who had found a job, because if they with their agreement, we could just contact them just to see how they were doing in the job that they found for us. Yeah. And usually I was praised because I was usually able to make about 100 calls in a day, and I was there for 8-hour shifts with 2 15-minute breaks and half an hour for lunch. The thing was, because Remploy also employed a various amount of people with disabilities, they didn't, where we were anyway, not like it was in the factories where they were treated apparently quite appallingly. But I was working in the head office, which was like a call center. But we did start having this issue where you know, the branches were getting at us because and like customers weren't happy with the service because because the data we had to work on was that the employment advisors had put on at the branches, and usually when the calls had come through to us, the candidate was saying, "What's happening?" Because, well, sorry, we haven't updated your profile. It's your EAs.
Yeah.
And we'd have to put them through, and we were started to get very targeted on how many calls we could make. But some people at the office would be very lazy and make like, you know, something like 20 calls in a day.
Yeah.
You know, actually do sod all and sit around talking to everyone else. Yeah.
You get that no matter where you go, though. And the problem is, a lot of places they haven't got the balls to fucking get rid of them.
No.
And, you know, it's like I say, I've worked some places where you'll have people who quite blatantly do fuck all. They'll come in to work in the morning, and then they'll just literally sit down and do fuck all day. You know, wandering about, you know, chatting lasses up and reading newspaper, and then, you know,
going to make yourself a cup of tea every 10 minutes.
Yeah, going outside for a fag every 5 minutes, and then they come and, you know, I mean, I said one of them. I was 5 minutes late to work once because there'd been a crash, so obviously there were a bit of traffic, and they were like, you know, oh, why are you late? And I says, well, I'm sorry I'm late. I says, but, you know, there were a crash on Main Road out there. I says, so we have to wait, you know, in traffic. Well, why didn't you get an earlier bus? I'm like, why would I get an earlier bus? I'm like, well, you could have got an earlier bus and got here on time. I'm like,
it's not like you know, is there? There's going to be a crash.
I didn't do a fucking crash on road, did I?
No.
I was like, oh, well. And then she goes like, well, I'm a bit sick of you not pulling. Oh, and I literally just said, I went, oh, fuck off. I says, there's fucking what on sits around. He does fuck all except mess about with his phone all day. You know, sits there reading paper. He's off making fucking, you know, cups of tea every 2 minutes and going outside for a fag and then wandering out office chatting lasses up. You don't bat a fucking eyelid at him. You know, but there's me. I come in. I'm your best fucking, you know, I'm best on call quality, best on call time, best on work done. I come in 5 minutes late one day because some poor bastard got run over by a fucking car, and you're going to bitch at me. Well, he's like, well, there's no need to be like that. I said, yeah, there is. I said, you're coming and mouthing off at me, and you've not got the balls to mouth off at someone else. I says, what's wrong? I says, do you fancy him or something? You know, and if you go and have a go at him, he might not fucking fancy you back. I says, because that's all it'll fucking boil down to. He's like, oh, just go. I put a fucking complaint. I said, no. I says, if I want to be 5 minutes fucking late, I'll be 5 minutes fucking late. All overtime I'll put in at this fucking place. Extra work I do. I take fucking work home with me. If I want to be 5 minutes fucking late, or if I want to go home 5 minutes early, I'll fucking do it. And you'll say nothing. Oh, they're like, you know, thingy manager were like, you know, the big boss. They were like, yeah, fine. You know, he's like, yeah, fine, I don't mind you doing that. Yeah, and then he's like, so why won't this other manager say things to people, other people that aren't pulling the fucking weight? You know, I'm like, I haven't got a fucking clue. No, so, you know, it's just because you think I'm an easy target, but it's like, you know, it's like, you know, I'm not a fucking easy target because you get on the wrong side, I'll bite your fucking head off.
In my last job, basically the way it works, so I work from home. The way the kind of contract worked was you basically had to pick and choose and kind of do your own hours in your shift of the week, which did give you quite a bit of flexibility. Part of the kind of contract was that you had to work so many weekends out of the month, all that kind of stuff, which, you know, was fine. And basically, it got to the point where it was me and the same group of 6 or 7 people who were working weekends constantly. And after about 4 months of working weekends straight, 4 fucking months straight of working weekends, I basically had enough of it. So when the rota came out and everything, I booked it. I arranged it so I had 2 weekends off in a row for the first time in 4 months. Anyway, on the Sunday out of the second weekend, I got a bloody email in on my work emails. I just popped up, I just checked it. Basically, it was an email telling me, blah, 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 please be aware of contract regarding weekends and fulfilling the quota and the fact that, you know, you've been taking these weekends and it's not fair on people and all that. So my response was to email head office directly and tell them, if you please check the employee rotas for me, you will see that I have been working weekends for 4 months straight, which I'm not even supposed to do because I'm supposed to be on the rota system. So I think I deserve these weekends off because it's the first weekends I've had off in 4 months.
Yeah. Oh, there were a woman like that when I used to work at that fucking solicitors. They put rota up every month. And I guarantee as soon as rota went up, an email would go round from her. Oh, I need to, you know, I need to be like not starting until 12. So can anybody take all my day shifts and I'll take your afternoon shifts? you know, basically she didn't want to work mornings. And, you know, and it's like that every month. And I've got to say a few others said to her, like, you can't keep doing that. You know, we all have to work shifts that we don't like occasionally. It's like, yeah, but I don't like working morning shift. And it's like, well, I don't particularly like working nights a lot, but I fucking do it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like working at weekends at all, but I'll do it. I'll do, you know, 1 or 2 weekends a month. You know, I'll swap shifts with somebody sometimes. You know, if they've got a reason for doing it. But if that reason is, oh, because I want to go pub, then the answer's no. You know, what happens if I want to go fucking pub? I had that once with somebody come up and wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, they just like working. You like working late. Why? Oh, it's just because, like, I'm wanting to go to pub next weekend, so I need you to do my Friday night and my Saturday late. And I went, oh, I says, shame that. I says, because I'm going out next week. And they just looked at me and went, well, can't you put it off till some other time? I said, well, can't you put yours off till some other time? And they look at me like, you know, as though I'd just done a fucking hot turd in my hand and wiped it across the face. Like, no, fuck you. It's like, if I want to fucking go out, I'm going out.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about other people. I do. It was was it Dave? Fuck you, what to call him? Him that used to be in Peep Show, and he was on. I think he was on either Mock the Week or Have I Got News for You? And he says, I'd love to know where in anybody's employment contract it says you've actually got to enjoy your job.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, because it says there, it says, you know, like, you'll be sat at work and it's like, you know, you'd be bored and miserable and whatever, and you'll get somebody come round and like, oh, cheer up. It's like, fuck you. You know, if I had my own choice, I'd be, you know, in the fucking Bahamas or somewhere. I wouldn't be fucking sat here. So, you know, why have I got to enjoy my job?
Yeah, it's a fair point, really. And there can be times where things in jobs can just be really downhill. I mean, hell, in my last job when I was home working, for a while we had an issue with one of the managers who was basically switching people's shifts round without their permission.
Yeah.
And it was even booking shifts in on people's days off.
Yeah.
There was the final straw was when she decided to book one of the team for an 8 in the morning start on a Tuesday. This said person had been on holiday the week before and was flying back from America on the Sunday. As a result, didn't get back. By the time she got home, it was something like 3 in the morning, Monday morning. Yeah. And obviously, she just checked her email before she went to bed to see what shift. I'm not at work Monday. I've got Monday off so I can bloody recover. What the hell? So come literally 7 in the morning, she calls up work and basically says, look, I ain't working this shift. I've got jet lag. I'm knackered. I was booked off this day anyway because I needed to sleep in, so I'm ready and fresh for back to work on Tuesday. I shouldn't be working today. Who the hell has booked me in? And that was basically the final straw for this manager.
Yeah. I fuck you. I'm going to say I've had that. You know, your phone goes off and it's like, why are you not at work? It's like, 'cause I'm on holiday. What do you mean you're on holiday? Oh, I'm on holiday for next week. Oh, well, it says on rota you're not on holiday. It's like, well, the fucking holiday form I got signed by HR says I am, so tough shit. Oh, yeah, well, we really need you to come in. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Saying that, you know, John Nosey, he had that problem when Asda. The amount of times they used to ring him up on his days off and ask him to come in. And it was just like, he's like, no, it's my day off. It's my contracted day off.
Yeah, I'm going to say with May had that. He works in security and he booked 4 days off because it were like school holidays or something, and they were wanting to spend some time with kids, you know, and go out and that. And they rung him up on one of his days, you know, one of these days off, and they went, oh, we need you to come into work. And he says, all right, I will, but it'll be for £45 an hour. And they were like, what do you mean? He's like, well, if you want me to come into work, it's £45 an hour. And he's like, what makes you think that what makes you think that you're worth us paying you £45 an hour for? He says, because I'm on fucking holiday. You know, he says, I booked holiday off. He says, you want me to come into work? He says, so you pay extra for it. But manager's like having a hard time getting his fucking head around it. Like, he's like, yeah, but we haven't got anybody else to come in. It's like, it's not my problem. You know, I don't hire staff. I don't do rotas. So, you know, it's not to do with me.
Yeah, I mean, ironically, like years ago when I was signing on, the person that signed me on, she generally was quite annoying, and she didn't seem to...
Oh, they all are at the bloody job centre.
She didn't seem to take a hint. Basically, I was... At this particular time, I was at college, and basically I was just doing my usual thing, signing on, and then she was like, you know, anyway, Sam, there's this thing coming up that you need to do as part of your bloody benefit claim. I was like, okay, what is it? It's like, oh, it's this 2-week... mandatory course thing, and I can't remember what it was, but essentially it was 2 weeks sitting in effectively a classroom somewhere and doing some useless course. And I basically just said to her, well, I can't, because as you already are aware, I'm attending college at the moment 3 days a week, and I can't, you know, not be there because I'm currently nearly coming up to my exams for the final year after the last 2 years of bloody college. And she's like, oh, but you need to do this 2-week course thing. I said, well, I can't, I've got college. She said, well, if you don't do it, you'll probably get sanctioned. I said, well, surely the fact that I'm attending college makes me exempt from this. And she's like, well, can't you do this course and like take a break from the college? I was like, well, no, because that would mean I would not be there to do my final exams, which means I fail the course, which is 2 years, and then means I have to redo the course next year all over again. And she was like, well, would you be willing to do that? No, I would not. And she's like, oh, but if you don't do this course, you will get sanctioned. I said, tell you what, here's what I'll do. I will keep attending my college course because I've only got like 6 weeks left, and then I'm finished. And to fix this problem we're having, I will sign off right now. I officially sign off job seekers, and I will come back in a year after I've done the final course at college. How's that? Yeah. I said, well, you can't do that. I said, yeah, I can. Here's my green slip. I was going to sign it on the back. I'm no longer signing on.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was it.
I used to enjoy when you get, you know, some fucking moron at Dole office doing, you know, saying something that was so fucking retarded. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I used to really enjoy asking them if they would kindly send me a letter, you know, saying what they've just said. You know, like it's like, oh well, you know, like I'd ring up and say, you know, like, oh, I can't come to me signing on thing for like 10 o'clock or whatever it is, you know, because I'm, you know, like I've got to be at doctor's or in hospital or something. And they'll be like, oh, well, can't you come here first then go to hospital? It's like, well, my appointment with you is at 10. My appointment at the hospital is at 10. So, you know, I can come at about 11 if you want. And I'm like, no, you can't do that. And it's like, well, so what am I supposed to do? Wait another 6 months for an hospital appointment? And they're like, well, yeah, if that's what you've got to do. It's like, well, can you send me a letter saying that then? And then they go quiet, you know, and it's like, yep, got you, because you can't do that. Yeah, or, you know, stuff like that, like, oh, I did have one once. Apparently I owed Dole office some money because they'd overpaid me job seekers or something like that. And I said, well, how much is it? And they went £30. And I said, well, how did I get overpaid job seekers when you get the same amount every week? And they went, oh, well, according to this, at some point, like, you know, fucking 10 years ago, you did some part-time work or something like that. I went, well, I don't remember, you know, it's 10 years ago. Can you tell me which company it was? Oh, we don't know. Right, okay. I said, so how do you know that I've got that this happened? And went, well, you came in and said that you'd done some part-time work. Went, right. So I said, so you wrote down that I've done some part-time work and that any wages I get paid will be deducted from my job seekers, yeah? Went, yeah. I go, so why wasn't it deducted? Clerical error. I said, so because of your mistake, you now want me to pay back £30? Well, no. And I said, so I don't have to pay it back then. They're like, well, yeah. I says, well, make your mind up. Do I have to pay it back or not? He goes, well, it's only £30. Well, if it's only £30, you pay it back then. You know, I says, put your hand in your pocket. I says, if you can afford to chuck 30 quid away, then do it. Well, it's your responsibility to keep us up to date. I says, I did. I says, just because you're fucking idiot that was sat behind the desk when I told them that I'd done this work and this is how much I'd be getting paid, didn't do their job properly, it's not my fucking fault, is it? Like, I says, well, you know, I've got things to do, so I don't want to listen to you going like, So I'll let you go and you can sort out your own internal problems yourself without asking me to foot the fucking bill for it. Never heard anything about it again.
I nearly got sanctioned due to a computer error. That was the strangest, just the most bizarre thing. Because I'd literally, shown up, I signed on, and then after I'd seen my advisor, I had to go and see somebody else at the job centre about something else, which was literally the floor below the one I was on. So, you know, signed on, did my thing, then went down to see the other person. And while I was sat there and, you know, she was typing away at the computer, then she said, so, Mr. Maltby, you're here today in regards to the, basically in regards to your missed appointment. We have you down here in regards, you currently have a pending strike or sanction or whatever pending on the system regarding an appointment you missed last week that we basically have no reason for why you missed it. What are you talking about? He said, this week here, you didn't show up and, you know, this meeting today is about that. I was told it was about so-and-so, so-and-so. No, it's about this missed appointment. When was this again? This last week, this time. No, I was there, that appointment. I attended it. Not according to the computers, you didn't. No, I was definitely there. Said, no, they said, right, if you could speak to my advisor, who is literally the floor above you, who I've just seen, he will tell you I saw him last week on time. But we have it on the computer. Can you please call him right now? He's upstairs right now. Yeah. Okay, then they called him. And then after about 5 minutes talking with him, she put the phone down. She's like, well, it does appear that you were here last week. Yeah, I was. Like, why the hell does your computer say I wasn't? She was like, well, we'll look into it. I said, yeah, please do. You know?
Yeah. It's at that point, I'd reach into my pocket, get a spoon out and say, here you go. And say, what's the spoon for? He says, so you can eat my arse. I know I once got sanctioned after I'd signed off. I don't understand what that was for. I started work, I'd signed off, I'd been working there for 6 weeks, and then I got a phone call from Dole office and they said, I want you to come in and discuss your sanction. I'm like, what? They're like, well, you're sanctioned. And I says, well, how can I be sanctioned? I says, I signed off 6 weeks ago. They're like, oh, yeah, but you've still got to come and sign on. I'm like, so what you're saying is that I've signed off, started work, I've been here 6 weeks, and now you want me to still come in and sign on to claim benefits? You know, it's like, I'll do that if you like. You know, extra money will be great. You know. But, well, we'll have to put you on a sanction if you don't come in and sign on. I went, well, you know, all right, fair enough, do what you want, but just so you know, I don't claim benefits anymore. So sanctioning me for benefits I don't actually receive is a bit pointless. But, you know, you do you. Other ones told me I'd got to what were it? Come for a return to work interview after I've been working somewhere for like a fortnight. And I was like, what's a return to work interview? They went, well, it's just like we talked to you about going back to work. And I says, well, I'm already at work. I says, I'm at work right now. Oh, well, can't you take the day off and come and see us? I'm like, what for?
I mean, it's not like, you know, for example, if you had a period of sick time off, then they would do a return to work.
No, this is Dole office. I don't know why Dole office wanted to do that. I think it was just one of them things where it's like they've got a target to me, and then because people at the Dole office aren't, you know, like well known for having much in the way of mental bus fare. You know, it's like they don't think for themselves. You know, it's like with Samsung there, computer says no. You know, computer says no, but if you actually spend 2 minutes thinking for yourself and, look into it, you'll find out that computer says no, but computer is wrong.
Yeah, because someone's probably not updated it properly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's fucking stupid when you get people like that are just... It's like I said to one of them once there when I were asking them about something, and they said they didn't know, and I went, well, what is your job then? Well, what do you mean? I went, well, it says that I'm supposed to ask you about this, that, or whatever, but you don't know. And you don't know anybody that knows. So what exactly are you getting paid for? It'd be easier just to replace her with a, like a fucking touchscreen thing. Because at least that, you touch screen and it brings up the information that you're looking for. Whereas a fucking person sat there going, duh, I don't know. That's not much use and it costs a lot more money. Duh, my brain doesn't work.
One of the things I always found, speaking of Earth Cal, many years ago, one of the first jobs I actually ever did was at the job centre. I got a 9-month contract there.
Yeah.
And it was just admin stuff.
Yeah.
And basically, one of the things he had me do was actually basically build the PowerPoint presentation for the back to work sessions. And I basically did spend 3 days designing and building this pretty simple PowerPoint presentation that broke everything down into sections. Everything was sort of on a time basis, allowing people to not only discuss it, but take questions and answers and all that kind of stuff. It was all set up utterly perfectly. I was real proud of it. Then about a couple of months later, my contract's over and I ended up having to go to a back to work thing. Yeah. Now, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be weird because I did all the bloody presentation work for this. So I went into the room, sat down with everybody, and the 2 people in jobs that came up. They bought it was a back to work presentation, and I physically had to stop myself from basically shouting out, "What the fuck have you done to my presentation?"
Yeah.
It had been utterly massacred, and it was just awful. And I was just thinking to myself, I spent 3 days building this. What have you done to it?
What's this do? Oh, shit.
Where the hell is, everything was set up in sections. Where are all the sections gone? Where are the bloody, all the bloody stuff that I set up? You should be briefing it on the section now, not then. And why the hell is that there? And it was just a mess. I actually really wanted to speak to the people in charge afterwards and say, just so you know, I used to work at the job centre as a temp, and I built this little presentation of yours. Can you explain to me why it's been completely massacred?
Yeah. You get the fuckers there when they want something doing, and you do it on computer and email it to them or whatever. Like a report typing up or graphs or a spreadsheet or something. And then next thing you get a phone call from them like, can you do that? But can you do it in on paper? Like, what do you mean? Like, well, I want it on paper. It's like, well, just print it out then. But can't you do that? It's like, you don't know how to use a fucking computer, do you? It's a lot easier if you just admit that, and if you'd have told me that from the beginning, But yeah, I've had quite a few people that, and it always ends up being, like somebody in senior management. It's somebody that's supposed to be quite intelligent and know what they're doing or something, and they can't do basic things like type up a Word document or, just do a basic spreadsheet. It's like, fucking hell, this is basic shit that they teach you in fucking school.
Yeah. Well, I was never with spreadsheets, but that's partly used my condition. Because,
when they taught us how to do spreadsheets at school, we were on a fucking Acorn Archimedes. It's moved on quite a lot since the Acorn Archimedes, but the principle's still the fucking same. Fucking, yeah. I couldn't believe that. Or like the one where it's like, oh, can you photocopy this? Can you photocopy 75 copies of this? Why? so I can hand them out to everybody at the meeting. It's like, well, yeah, I can, but then I could just email it to them, you know, so it's full in colour and everything. So that because when I print it out and photocopy it, the photocopy only does it in black and white.
Yeah,
so they can't tell what, you know, like on the bar charts and whatever.
Yeah,
and the you know, the status readouts and stuff. They're in black and white, and they should be in colour. Yeah, duh.
This isn't something that happened to me at work. This is just something I read because a while ago I was looking up like, you know, interesting stories people had from like IT support and customer services and stuff.
Yeah.
I came across perhaps the most bizarre IT support story I think I've ever read. Basically, this guy, you know, gets a call from a customer, explains, you know, there's a problem with my computer, right? Okay, what is it? And there's this like error message that keeps coming up, and on my Windows. And basically, he spent about 20. So the story goes, he spends 20 minutes with this customer trying to explain to me how remote access works. It's like, you know, if I can connect to your computer remotely from here, I might be able to fix it. After 20 minutes, he gives up because this guy doesn't seem to understand the basic concept of how to do it. So in the end, he basically says, tell you what, if you can send me a screenshot of this error message, just you know, to send it to me, I'll get back to you today. Anyway, they never heard back from the customer. 2 weeks later, they get a large postal envelope that contains a load of screenshots printed out of the error message from the customer. That's thinking.
I know there was one I read, and it was a woman sending a fax. You know, you don't tend to find fax machines much anymore, but they still exist. But you know, back in the days when people still use fax, and they're there, you know, this admin or whatever, and she's getting a bit flustered. So the guy goes over and he says, "What's wrong?" And she says, "Oh, I'm just trying to send this fax through." So it's like, okay. And she says, and it's not working. So she's like, well, show me what you're doing. So she puts it in, types in number, presses send, and, you know, it feeds it through and it pops out the other side. And she goes, oh, it's done it again. And he's like, what? She goes, well, it's still here. You know, because it's popped out the other side. She's thinking it fucking breaks up the paper and sends it over the phone line.
No.
He's like, what the fuck? And he says, how many times have you done that? She goes, about 25. So she'd sent the same thing through 25 fucking times.
Oh, God.
Yeah. It's almost as bad as fucking, what they call it, them tricks that, like, Anonymous and that used to send, like, black faxes to people. You know, it's a piece of black paper through fax machine, so when it prints it out at the other end, it's white paper but smeared with black ink.
Yeah. Because what it does, a fax machine, yeah, it takes paper through what you want to fax, but then it prints it out on the receiver's fax machine.
Yeah, it prints it out at their end. Yeah, it makes a copy of it. I used to fucking hate fax machines because half the time when stuff came out, you couldn't fucking read it.
Yeah, or else it had been a tiny little font.
Yeah, tiny little font, and then when it comes out at printer, it's like, is that an A or a D? I can't see. And it's like, can you send me that fax through again? But can you turn the brightness down a bit? Why? Well, because it's coming through and I can't fucking read it. All right, and then send it again, not the same fucking setting. It's like, no, I said turn the brightness down. That big knob on the front that says brightness, just click it down a bit, but not all the way down, because I don't want a fucking piece of paper to come out that's just black.
Yeah.
Fucking retards. Yeah. Oh dear. Sometimes when you do that with stupid people, you just think, have you ever seriously considered committing suicide? Because I think you should. You know, for the good of humanity.
No, it's a quote. Thanos was right.
Yeah.
No, that's
Well, it's like, I can't remember who it was, and he said that, you know, it's you think about all the horrible things that happen in the world and all the accidents and, you know, disasters and everything that have been caused by humans.
Yeah.
You know, and at any time, you know, something can happen and lead to, you know, like a massive worldwide disaster. And it says, and just bear in mind that in this day and age, that massive disaster will most likely be caused by somebody who presses a button that they shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You know, because they got a bit too curious and they thought, what does this do? Yeah. It's like that, you know, and it is true. You know, somebody fiddling, whoa, what's this do? What's this lever do?
A thing in Hawaii, I think Hawaii, about maybe 2 years ago now or so, where for some reason one day everybody in Hawaii got an emergency broadcast message.
Oh yeah, what you said there, yeah, the nuclear war.
Nuclear strike was imminent.
Yeah,
and it caused massive panic. And the thing,
well, people actually, people died because of that, because they what they call it, you know, they got. I mean, there's a video of a bloke, and you know, like somebody did a compilation video of people that did like live streams and stuff like that, you know, when it happened. There's a bloke playing golf, and he just says, "Oh, I just had this message on my phone that, you know, like basically World War III's starting." He goes, "Well, I might as well finish me 18 holes," you know. And he just carries on, you know. But there's some people that got proper up and had like heart attacks and things like that. You know, people that got in car accidents because all of a sudden, you know, people's driving along and they get a message saying basically the world's coming to an end. So they put the foot down so they can get home and end up running people over and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think as far as I know with that, that was by somebody fiddling around with the
made a
software.
mistake on the computer and stuff.
Yeah, they was fiddling around with the oh god, what's it called? Is it the emergency broadcast system or something?
Hey guys, what's this button do?
Yeah. Oh, what happens if I click on this? No, don't do that. And all of a sudden, everybody's phone goes off. There is a nuclear war starting in 5, 4.
Yeah.
I think if it was in Britain, most people would just be, oh, right, okay, cup of tea.
I'm not even sure whether we have one of them anymore. I know the BBC's set up so that if something happens, it cuts in on the telly and that. But I don't know whether it extends to like mobile phones. I think
it does, although from a realistic point, by the time you got the message, you'd probably have less than 2 minutes before the first bombs hit.
Well, that's what they said about it anyway, even during 50s and 60s. You know, they say like, on average, you know, like they give it, what is it, the 3-minute warning, they called it. But they said, depending on where the missile was launched from, what time of day it was, what time of year it was, you know, whether it was an ICBM or a submarine-launched missile, you got seconds, if anything.
Yeah.
So if it was submarine launch, they realistically wouldn't pick it up until it came into, you know, like British airspace. And it would, you know, when they detonate in the high atmosphere, you got fuck all time to intercept it, fuck all time to fucking worry about it. Yeah, I mean, they all what they call it. I mean, there's things on YouTube you can find, and it's simulations of the what we call it attack warning red in this country. You know, in America it's DEFCON 1. In this country we call it attack warning red, and you know, basically like simulations of what what attack warning red would look like if shown by the BBC. And no, it's just usually a beep, a loud series of beeps followed by a voice saying attack warning red, you know, nuclear strike is imminent, and then it gives you a bit of information, you know, like, oh, stay on, you know, like, you know, stay tuned to this channel for further information and stuff like that. Yeah, you're fucking dead. You know.
Tell you what, I'm right, sorry, I'm gonna have to say this now because it's just something that's worth mentioning. Nosy, if you're watching, this is about your Uncle Dennis. You probably know exactly what I'm going to say, but it's hilarious, so I'm going to say it on a live stream. Right. A couple of months ago, John's Uncle Dennis called up his dad, and he was in an absolute shitstorm. He was fucking petrified. And basically his dad answered the phone, and all he got from his brother was, "It's happening, John. The world's going to end." I was like, "What the hell are you talking about, Dennis?" And he's like, "The BBC, they're saying that there's been a nuclear launch and it's going to hit and all that." And he was right. And I said, "What are you on about? I've got the news on. There's no nuclear launch. What are you talking about?" And he's like, "But it's on the BBC." And then after a moment, it went quiet, and he was like, "Actually, it's just a YouTube documentary." Apparently,
watching live at BBC Live.
Yeah, he'd had YouTube on. He'd left the room, gone into the kitchen for a cup of tea, come back, and it just switched on to the next video, which had been a mockumentary of a nuclear war happening, and he thought it was real.
Thought it was real. Yeah. Ah, no. So, like I say, if there was a proper World War III, you'd be better off. You'd be better off getting blown up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think like that button in the in the White House, they say that can blow up the entire world if it's pressed.
Well, no, that's just Hollywood, mate. There's no actual.
There's no actual button, and the thing is, it's like they say, President Trump could press a button at any time and start World War III. No, he can't. There's about half a dozen things that have to happen, both before and after. Any buttons get pressed. It's like it has to be confirmed. It's like if they pick something up that they don't know what it is, it has to be confirmed whether or not it's a missile or anything. They have to figure out where it's come from, and then they have to figure out, is it actually a nuclear missile or is it like a meteor or something like that. And then, before that, then they say, that's when they get the president on the phone. Well, they don't even get the president on the phone. They get whoever's in charge of the.
Would it be the Minister of Defence?
Yeah, it'd be like the Secretary of Defence or whatever. They get him on phone first and say, we've got this thing. We're not right sure what it is. It's heading towards, us. And they'd be like, how many of them is there? Well, we've only picked up one so far. There's two, 3, 4. Do you know what it is? No, not really. We're just waiting on that coming back. And then it's like they'll sit up phone for a minute and then go like, "Oh, it's just a meteor," or something like that. And that's before. And then it's like, at some point, next morning's breakfast briefing. The Secretary of Defence will say to the President, "Oh yeah, by the way, we had an alert last night." And be like, "What?" It just turned out to be some meteors or something, that'd be first he'd fucking hear of it. Yeah. Stuff like, it's not like in the fucking movies where, it's like, get me the president. And it's like, the other thing is like, "Mr. President, sir, it's an honor to speak to you." Like, what's going on? "We have got 40 targets coming in, confirm, Alpha Bravo." So, like that. And the president says like, "Okay," and then gets the key out and fucking opens the suit. And then he's like, puts the thing in and is like, "What I do today, I do for patriotism and freedom." And then the world comes to an end. It's not like that at all.
Yeah, patriotism and freedom by launching nuclear missiles. Yes.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole point of the mutually assured destruction policy. It was basically if the Soviets ever attacked, it would guarantee that basically following the war there'd be no winner, because they had a thing in the 50s called flexible defense, flexible response, which was basically if a Russian plane dropped a bomb on, say, New York City, then the Americans were allowed to drop a bomb on a city of equivalent size and population in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And that would be the end of it. That'd basically be it. And then they went like, "Well, yeah, but that's not really very good, is it?" So they went, "Well, what we'll change it to is, what we'll change it to is, if you attack us, we'll kill you completely. And then, if there's anything left after we've launched our missiles, you can launch whatever's left of yours, and then there's no winner." You know,
which is ways, it's the only thing that's really stopping a third world war.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the thing there. I mean, you can have, in theory, you can have like limited, what they call a limited exchange, which will be, you know, like they launch one, or they set one bomb off, we set one bomb off, you know, they set another one off, we set another one off. That's like a limited exchange, but the problem with that is that it'll escalate. You know, it's like eye for an eye sort of thing, and it's like they said there, you know, you used to get the, you know, what they call the tactical nuclear weapons, which would be like small, you know, enough to destroy a town or something like that. You start off with them, and then somebody somewhere gets pissed off and gets a bit bigger one out, so you have to get a bit bigger one out, and then it all ends up being a bit of a shit show.
Yeah, I'll be frank. I am pretty much on the mindset that I think people need to not worry about North Korea, because they're really not a threat to anyone.
They're not a threat in the slightest. I mean, I was talking to a fucking American once, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well, World War III could still happen now." It's like, when you say World War III, how do you mean? They're like, well, we could be attacked by the Russians any day. Like, really? I don't fucking think so, mate. You know, oh, well, it could happen. It's like, yeah, it could happen, but it's so unlikely. It's not even worth bothering about. I mean, even the fucking Chinese wouldn't do it. You know, it's like the Chinese, oh, shall we nuke our best customers?
Yeah, that's exactly my point. Yeah. I mean, whenever the concept of China gets brought up, my response is always, you are aware that 90% of our technology comes from China, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, you know, America and Europe thinks up the good ideas, and then the Chinese figure out how to do it cheaper and usually of considerably lower quality, but adequate enough for the job that it needs to be done.
Yeah. China's bloody an economic powerhouse because of that fact.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need to start a war with anybody because they're technically the most powerful country on the planet.
No, but yeah. It's one of them. It's one of them. No, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, sort of things. It's like, yes, they are. They could cripple a lot of Western economies just by putting an embargo on exports for 3 months. You know, if they say, right, we're not shipping anything out at all for the next 3 months, they could cripple they could get some businesses in the West to suddenly go bankrupt. And you know, they could do that, and that would have a knock-on effect, and you know, that might start a shooting war. But yeah, I don't know. And then we all end up living in a thingy like, you know, like Mad Max or something. Oh, right, I think I'm going to call it a day because I'm. I
think I will. It's probably time.
Yeah, I'll say it's 1 o'clock now, so it's. I think it's time to put me programs on and fall asleep.
Yeah. Okay then. Well, it's been a great stream tonight. Nice to talk to you both. So thanks for joining, Sam, and
no worries, mate.
Thanks to Carl as well. So hopefully we'll be back sometime soon. Okay, so once again, thanks to my guests, and thanks to everyone who's watched. I'll see you all soon, guys.
It's been good. Take care.